Good evening, and thanks for tuning in to Raven News. I'm your host, Grace Donovan, bringing you all of today's top news stories. The first news story of the night covers new produce handling regulations passed by the FDA. We'll go to Sophia Huffleton for more details. Thank you, Grace. The Food and Drug Administration has recently finalized rules that establish federal standards for how fruits and vegetables are grown, harvested, and packed in the U.S. Growers will be subject to an array of new responsibilities, including ensuring the safety of water used in irrigation and making sure deer and other wildlife stay away from the crops so that their waste does not contaminate them. Many growers already follow these guidelines, but these new regulations ensure that everyone will meet FDA standards. This legislation is aimed to prevent foodborne illnesses, which send 128,000 people to hospitals each year, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It is uncertain when exactly these new rules will be implemented. Disputes over the budget are prolonging this process. The Office of Management and Budget is requesting nearly $110 million for the new policy's implementation, but budget drafts from the Appropriations Committees in the House and Senate currently call for only $45 million. With such a difference in budgetary funds, only time will tell when they will go into effect. Back to you, Grace.
Each year, different bureaucratic agencies request funds, and by using these requests, the Office of Management and Budget prepares the formal budget. The President then recommends this budget to Congress. Congress then reviews it and refines it in both the House and Senate Appropriation Committees. The President must sign the appropriation bills for the proposed budget to become that of the next fiscal year.
Thank you, Sophia. The President and Chancellor of the University of Missouri have both resigned from their respective positions as a result of this week's escalating events. Students have protested and boycotted university activities in response to the failure of the head leaders to address racial equality on campus. Their intensity shows that equality is a salient value in the University of Missouri's political culture. Amber, are you there?
Yes, Grace, I'm here. I'm Amber Lovegood, and standing next to me, in front of his former home, is now former Chancellor of the University of Missouri, Richard Bowen Lofton. Now, Mr. Lofton, why did you make the decision to resign from your position as Chancellor?
Well, Amber, I love the students down. I didn't handle the situation like I should have, and I felt like they needed someone else to be their Chancellor.
Sorry to hear that, Mr. Lofton. Well, that's all the time we have here today. Back to you, Grace.
The travel industry has been in hot pursuit of pushing back recent congressional legislation. This interest group has numerous lobbyists attempting to lobby Congress to not pass the bill. By using the Issue Network, they hope to influence the death of this potential policy before it is put into action. Our correspondent, Karen Granger, tells us why there's such a discrepancy. Karen, over to you. The proposed legislation would restrict the visa waiver program that allows citizens from 38 countries to travel here to the United States for business or leisure for up to 90 days without a tourist visa. A growing number of lawmakers are calling for a re-examination of the program to check for potential gaps in security. The lobbyists for the travel industry are defending the program, claiming that there are already accurate security and screening requirements in place. They are aggressively lobbying Congress because the proposed bill would defeat the ultimate purpose of the program, making travel to the U.S. more efficient for citizens of other countries. We will report back later with more updates. Back to you, Grace. Thank you, Karen. Paul Ryan has recently been elected as Speaker of the House in the House of Representatives. He was elected by the Republican Party, which is the current majority party in the House. Our fellow reporter, Tina Porter, had the chance to ask him a few questions. Tina? I'm currently here with newly elected Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Mr. Ryan, how does it feel to be the youngest speaker elected since 1869?
It's an honor. Can't wait to serve my country by passing legislation that will help benefit the citizens of our country.
Speaking of legislation, one of the important jobs of Speaker is agenda setting. How will you go about this?
I will bring the bills that will be considered the most important or influential to our country to the forefront.
Sounds great. Thank you, Speaker Ryan. Back to you, Grace. A South Dakota program that has recently gone underway aims to prevent cases of driving while under the influence. We'll turn to Becca Cass for more information. Over to you, Becca.
Thank you, Grace. This program requires those who have been accused or convicted of alcohol-related crimes to report twice a day to a site to blow into an alcohol breath test. This serves as an alternative to jail time.
The state is allowed to initiate their own sobriety programs under the 10th Amendment, which grants all powers not specifically given to the federal government to the states. This division of power is called federalism. Without federalism, too much power would be isolated in the hands of one or the other. Federalism allows the states to experiment with policy and programs to see what works and what doesn't. The federal government sees South Dakota's sobriety program as a success and is issuing project grants to any state that runs the program. Sooner or later, the whole country will probably have implemented it. That's it for tonight's news. I'm Grace Donovan, and thanks again for tuning in to Raven News.